Now then, people, good afternoon and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show with myself and, of course, the amazing Joe from Leeds United. The view, we're early as well. Lateness is not greatness today. Early bird catches the first worm. We'll go with that one. We're here to talk about tonight's game, of course, Leeds United take on Sunderland in arguably the biggest game of the season so far. The thumbnail asks, is it a must win? And that's what we're going to be focusing on, because I know there's a few people in my chat that seem to think it is. I'm not sure me and Joe do, but we'll get stuck into it. But before we do, Joe, how's the nerves, mate? Are you nervous? I'm quite excited for the game, not nervous.
No, I'm not nervous. I'm looking forward to it. I think it has the potential, if everything goes well, to be like Leicester last season, Ellen Road. Like that feeling afterwards. I think I came on your show, probably the most passionate I've been about any game, screaming at the camera, we're the best team in the league. We're the best team in the league. So yeah. I think it has potential to get everyone wound up and up like that in a really, really good way. But there's also that potential slip up there that you are constantly doing the one eye to the left of what will Leeds do in a Leeds situation. So it's always in the back of your head. But as you're saying, we're going to talk about it. But I'm not nervous because I don't think it's the end of the world if we don't win. I think we need to avoid losing at all costs. Yeah. But I think we probably need 7 wins from the next 14 games. And if it doesn't come against Sunderland and Sheffield United, we pick up a point against both of them. I think there's plenty of games after that where those wins could be picked up easily.
Yeah. I think the most important thing as well, like, this sort of kills Sunderland's chances of catching us if we beat them.
Yeah.
It's a massive 10-point gap. And at that stage, you're going, right, okay, we don't need to worry about them so much anymore. Do you know what I mean? They need to focus on trying to catch second, if you will, and trying to draw, say, Sheffield United in or Burnley or whatever. But I just think I think I have to agree with you in terms of it being a must not lose. Even a point. I know people won't want a point because we're at home, etc. But even a point isn't a bad thing. A point puts us back top of the league, right? Like, and still have a gap over third, which is the most important thing.
And a game less for Sunderland as well. So that's one game chalked off where they can pick up points now. So the games are running out as well, which is really important at this time of the year.
Yeah. I think as well, for me, it's a must win for Sunderland. And that probably plays into our hands a little bit, Joe, because they're going to have to come and have a go, because they're not going to sit and get a point, are they? They're going to say, look, we need to win this. Which, we've seen how good we've been of late on the counter. That surely plays into Leeds United's hands.
I said the same in my preview, pretty much exactly the same thing. A point is no good to Sunderland. It does nothing for them. It gets them 2 points behind Burnley, but still not in the automatic spot, so they're still very much in the playoffs. So if they have any aspirations of trying to keep the players they brought in now at the moment and push into the Premier League, which was the point of those players coming in, and trying to keep a manager like Regis Labrie as well, who's a very highly rated young coach and manager, they need to get out of the league as well. This will be their best opportunity to get an automatic spot, because next year, looking at what's coming down and looking what they did last year, forget about it. So this has to be, and I don't want to do what Maresca did last year at Leicester and say it's a bigger game for them than it is for us. It's a massive game for both teams. If Leeds win this, it goes an awful long way towards solidifying the automatic spots. Regardless of champions or not, it means top 2 is probably on. If they win, they get closer to the automatics, and we let everybody else back in the back door. So it is a big game for both, which is why I think it suits Leeds better to get a draw. I think they'll have a go, and to your point, if they have a go, I think it's open for Leeds to pick them off.
People quoting that, look, it's a huge, huge game for them. It's a massive game for them, just another game for us. That's what Maresca sort of went with last season, and we know how that worked out in the end. I know they ended up getting promoted, but it sent them on a bit.
Your opposition's team talk, Joe. I used to always say this. I've said it myself, and it's been talking about it recently with basketball, and I keep saying, like, just never give your opponent any other reason bar 3 points to go and want to beat you. Don't give them anything extra. Don't give them a passionate, emotional reason. Don't make Reggie Labrie's team talk easy so he can walk in, play a video, and go, there you go, lads. Off you go. You know, you don't want to do that.
And Farke's always, that's one thing. He's always quite respectful of the opposition. Probably talks them up too much, I think. Sometimes I listen and I go, you don't really believe this. But I think, I think it's the best way to go about it, isn't it? When you're playing teams, like you said, just to not give them an extra incentive than they already have than coming to beat Leeds United, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go and do what you have to do. Let them worry about them. You worry about you. And on your watch down the other day, I sent you a message where I said, it doesn't matter about anybody else. Just look after our own business. All we have to do is look, even if it's second place, as long as there's a gap to third, I don't care. I really don't care. It would be lovely to go up as champions, but the most important thing is to get out of the league.
Yeah. No, you bang on the money. And how do you expect Farke's going to go about it, mate? Because I did my preview yesterday, and I almost feel it'll be the same lineup that we saw against Coventry, with Gruev in there. There's probably some might want to see Rothwell come in with us being at home, which is what he's been doing, but their midfield's very strong. I think it's the best area of the pitch with Rig, with Bellingham and others. You know, people are saying that Mundell's back, who normally plays left wing, so that might mean Lafitte goes into a central space. So we know how good he is as well. So I think it's important to have Gruev, because as good as Rothwell is, he's not as good defensively. That's probably that's his weakest part of his game for me, you know.
But it's not what he's there for. That's not why he's in any team. Joe Rothwell is your tempo driver, your pace setter from the middle of the park. He's your box to box. He's, you know, the guy that breaks in, links up the play with the 10 and the wide players. That's what he's there for. I completely agree. I think he goes with his away team, because that move to a defensive double pivot away from home has stopped the goals going in away from home. And we were conceding a goal every single game away from home, and they've stopped. So that's worked really, really well.
Yeah.
Outside of Bellingham in the middle of the park, to pull the strings, I'm a big fan of Joe. I don't think he's Jude's level, or we'll get to Jude's level, but I think he's a very, very good centre midfielder, and he can dictate a tempo as well. So I think Leeds will be mindful of what they bring as well, because they're going to have a go, and I think that will dictate what Leeds do. So I think Tanaka and Gruev sitting there. I would have liked Stroke back in, because I think Ampadu has just been a bit laboured recently. A bit, I don't know if it's a bit cocky. I just think he's a bit overconfident coming out with the ball. He's slow bringing it out. It's all this pointing stuff, and no one's doing anything. And then he loses possession, or he hits a low pass across the ground that's intercepted by someone. I just think
I thought he was poor against Millwall, but I thought he improved the
No, he did. It's only when he's playing out. His defensive stuff is excellent. His reading of the play, his covering of lanes, his positional stuff, his tackling, all that's it. And for a guy that's not the tallest of centre backs, he's very good in the air. It's just when Leeds come out with the ball, when it's stroke and road and they come out fast and they get the ball moving, he likes to point at people and jog out with it. Then he stops a lot, and then it's a 5-yard sideways pass where it's like, it doesn't need to be that. It can be, you can do more than that. And then just his passing recently, I just think it's been a bit flat across the ground, and they're being intercepted, and he's giving away possession. So I would like to see Stroke back in the team, but I think because of the level of the game that this is, and because of how much Daniel Farke trusts Ethan Ampadu, and again, because of the interceptions and the fact that he can read the play, I think he'll go with Ampadu at the back, and that will leave him Gruev and Tanaka sitting in front of him. So you'll have that really defensive 4 kind of in a block. It's what he does in the fullback area is going to be interesting as well, because as you mentioned, Lafitte already, himself and Isidore are just clocking up numbers at a ridiculous pace already. So they have to be really mindful of what they bring, because there's serious quality in their attack. And Patrick Roberts as well is no slouch. He's a good player for the goal. So they've got a lot of talent that we've got to be careful of. And it's not just but if we control that defensive side of it and control that midfield and let our attackers just go and play, then there's enough up there.
Yeah, they do concede quite a few chances. They are not nowhere near as defensively strong as us. So I think that's where, you know, we can win out. We do need to be wary of throwing loads of bodies forward, because as you've mentioned, Isidore likes to play on the shoulder. And we know with the players that they have, especially with Lafitte, they'll find him. If there's gaps in the defence, he'll put it on a plate for him. So a big performance needed from Mez as well, you'd assume, because of what happened at Stadium of Light. I'd love nothing more for him to get man at match, but that means they've had loads of chances. But it's a big, big night for Mez, isn't it, this?
He's been excellent in the last couple of weeks, and that should be said. As I say, I never mind anyone criticising somebody, but when the evidence in front of you suggests they've done something well, praise them as well. Like, you know, given in equal measure. So I think he's been excellent in the last couple of games. He's made some really, really big saves in the last few games as well. So I don't know if he's level yet, or if he's fixed the mistakes to get him back level just yet. But this is huge. And also the relationship he has with Reggie Slippery as well is important, because you could see he went over to him after the game, and the first thing he did is kind of roll his eyes and laugh. And then he got hammered for laughing about the situation as well. And you're like, well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Like, so, do something. But I think that as well is an important one to keep an eye on as well. Just if he has a chat with him before the game, or if he tries to get it in his head because they know each other. But then, if he just does what he's done the last few weeks, keeps it simple, does the basic stuff, gets out, covers stuff off his line, he'll be fine. But yeah, I said in my preview as well, I think there's eyes on him tonight. And this will be whether he's big enough to carry the pressure now. We'll come back in this game. And they'll put balls in on top of them because of that.
Of course they will. Yeah. They'll be wary of that, especially from set pieces. I think that, they'd be daft not to, right? To get stuck into him from that perspective. How do you see it going, Joe, then the game? I'm quietly confident myself. I think with us being at home, and to be honest, if I'm being honest, I thought we were way better than them at Stadium of Light, apart from the opening 20-25 minutes where I thought they were decent. After that, we took complete control and should have won that game. So, I'm expecting them to come and have a go, but I think we'll have too much. I don't know. Thoughts?
I think we're playing differently. There's definitely a different tempo to how Leeds are playing now, and I think that's really important. So it's not the same kind of pedestrian football is the word. I won't say boring because it's not. There's a tactic in it, but it's pedestrian. It's all about possession and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Where since the turn of the year, it's not been like that. It's been on the front foot. It's been at pace. It's been big switches quickly. It's constantly keeping the lads moving. So it's a slightly different proposition that Sunderland will get from us. If they come and have a go at the Leaf gaps, as you said, defensively, they're not probably as strong as we are defensively. What they conceded this year, conceded 28 goals this season. We've conceded 19, so it's not a massive difference. But yeah, I think we've enough talent to hurt them. You've got Ellen Road as a factor in this as well. The fact that it's an evening game as well. It'll be loud. I think it'll be tight. I've said 2-1 to Leeds, but I could equally see it being another 2-2. Equally, I think there'll be goals in the game. I think both sides will go at it. I think there will be goals, but I wouldn't be at all shocked at a 2-2, and I would be happy enough with a 2-2. But I put the positive side of my brain is going. I think we nick a 2-1. But I think they score because of what they bring to the table. I think Isidor's a cracking player. Yeah,
he's good. He's good. I think what I will say for us, and rightly so, there'll be a bit of nerves. It's such a big game, but I know it's not the same opposition. But Cardiff were on a very good run prior to coming to Leeds,
and Coventry
7-0. Coventry have won 6 of 7. Their only blemish is us. Yeah. So if we were to win tonight and win comfortably, it's not going to be comfortable, but win well. Let's say we win 2-0.
It can be a comfortable 2-0 win. You could dominate possession and win 2-0. They don't lay a glove on you. That's comfortable. That's
what I'm saying. And then you're looking at it going, right, well, it's done in it. We're sort of home and which are you more nervous about, this or Sheffield United?
I'm not worried about Sheffield United at all. In fact, I don't actually care about the result at all in that game, because it's Chris Wilder seems to be tacticoing himself into an absolute
man, he's overthinking
players for games, and like, what are you doing, mate? Like, against us, he rested players against us the last time and took the defeat, knowing he'd a winnable game the following week, and he sacrificed 3 points. And he's either a genius or a madman. But I'm not overly worried about that one, because they have a very, very good side. And if we were to lose to Sheffield United, you'd be like, well, yeah, they've got a very good team right now. I watched what came off their bench the other night, and you're like, yeah, they're at the same level as us now. They're bringing players off the bench that should be starting games for most teams. So it won't matter. Again, as I say, 7 wins were there. So I'm counting the 7. If that's the one blemish on the record, fine. You get 3 points against Sunderland, you go and beat West Brom, there's 2 down. You've got 5 of 12 left. And in that 12, you've got QPR, Swansea, Preston, Oxford, Plymouth, Bristol.
I don't know where. I did my preview yesterday, and I seen one of the data models had us on course for 99 points, Joe.
Yeah,
which would be insane.
Well, I had my wobble mid first half of the season, but at the very start of the season, I used to be beat by more than Bielsa's season, and then a little bit into the season, like, no, that's not. Now I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. I think we're well ahead of that, aren't we? To be honest, where we currently
we're 5 ahead of, or 15 ahead of Bielsa's.
Okay.
15,
I think
actually,
it's the goals. Sorry, it's probably the goal difference that's way ahead. But yeah, like I honestly think it's come the end, we might all look back and go, bloody hell, it was a bit of a procession. That, do you know what I mean?
I was kind of looking back at stuff last year to see if this season's been the same, and I didn't like the football in the first half of last season either, apparently. But then I loved the second half of the season, and I think I said it a couple of weeks ago that I just felt once you turn the corner of the year, teams can't just come and play low blocks against you, because now all of a sudden they have stakes as well. Like, they're trying to get into the playoffs, or they're trying to avoid relegation, and they can't just come and sacrifice a game. So it tends to open things up a little bit. I think in the last couple of weeks, we've seen teams try and have a pop at us and try and get something, and that's when we've just looked phenomenal. So I think that's a factor in this as well. I just think right now we've got a really good momentum to us and a rhythm. I'm watching that March international break just coming over the hill like a shadow, because that worries me. It always worries me. But we could have our job done before we get to that. I think that's this next block of 6 games is hugely important, because if we get 5 wins out of that, you can come back after the international break and enjoy yourself for the last 4. You know,
it's true. It's true. It's did you know, Michael? Obviously, prior to this, that Leeds are on the same points as we were this time last season.
Oh, I thought we were ahead of last season.
Nah. If we win tonight, we'll be 3 points ahead. So because this round of fixtures, we're yet to play. But
why?
It does just show, because it, like we were saying earlier on in the season when you had your wobble, we had 18 points, and we looked back at the previous and we said it's the same as last season. Nothing's improved. When in actual fact, say if we lost tonight, we'd be on the exact, but it doesn't feel like it at all. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we're top of the league and we're battering teams. But we did have a similar type of run last season. It's just we had Leicester and Ipswich, didn't we? That's the
miles ahead. Who, ironically, if we're in the division this year and had done what they did last season, would then still be 10, 11 points clear, top 2 spots in the league. So I suppose what's in front of you as well right now.
Yeah. So lineup wise, we're going the same. Who's like, do you think are you most fearful of from a Sunderland perspective?
Well, it's Lafay and Isidore, the 2, but Bellingham's got a very good record against us as well. So I'd be worried about him, especially late runs into the box, because he's a habit of just timing them well. We have a habit of getting caught with. That's the kind of goal we get stuck with the pullback. But it's how Junior Firpo or Jaden Bogle, whichever side Lafay decides to play on, or they're probably playing both sides at different points in the game, but how they do defensively against him. Do Leeds just get their 2 fullbacks to bomb on as normal, or do they have to sit back now and be a little bit wary of the threat that Lafay has coming forward? It'd be a big test for Firpo, because Lafay's a Premier League level winger, and it'd be interesting to see how Firpo, all talk about trying to give him a new contract. Well, has he improved versus Premier League standard wingers? If he has a blinder against Lafay, you're like, yeah, great. That's a huge one to keep an eye on. But the midfield battle's massive for me. If we win that midfield, we stop them playing through the middle of the park, I think we win this game. But if they start to get a foothold in there, I think they could do damage.
Yeah. Well, we've got 2 great midfielders playing in there in Tanaka and Gruev. Tanaka's started to see a lot of plaudits from the rest of like the football world, especially in the Premier League. I'm seeing a lot of like Tactico accounts on Twitter praising him and showing his numbers and stuff. It's crazy what we paid for him, innit? That goal that we scored, that 4th goal, that was. I mean, what do you make then to Farke's switch up? Because we're no longer boring. That's one thing. We're no longer boring. We're going for teams in the second half as well. So what have you made to that? Because I know you were a critic at times, and that's fair.
Absolutely,
Some fans did call us boring as well. That's just not the case anymore, is it? We're flying.
I put a comment out after Bristol City because it pissed off me. It pissed off my stag, because that's how my stag started, was watching Leeds play against Bristol City, and I put out, it's the most boring game of football I've ever watched in my life. But this boring thing seemed to catch on, and everyone got offended by the term, someone saying boring, and so anytime it wasn't boring, somebody would tweet, well, it's not boring.
So, boring. But
it wasn't about that game. It was about that game. Do you know what I mean? Like, not every game is the same game now. look, Daniel Farke is risk averse. We know that, and he is historically being risk averse. His teams historically take a while to get going, whether that's trust in his players. He does take time to trust new players and players he doesn't know that well. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, his record would suggest that he gets away with it, and it works quite well for him. Whether it works in the Premier League is a different story completely. If you're taking 10 games to get your rhythm in the Premier League, you're probably gone before you get to that point. But there is this switch up then, and all of a sudden the passes are forwards and not sideways. All of a sudden it's back to front as quick as we can to centre back out of a wide player. We're bypassing the fullback, or we're bypassing the 8 in midfield. It's just a straight ball into the wide areas. And I think that's great. But I also think the team is starting to gel. They're starting to get to know each other. Like Solomon and Firpo have a really, really good understanding when they're on the left together. Bogle and Dan James have a phenomenal understanding on the right-hand side, which when you see someone like Ramazani come on, who's a really, really good player, it doesn't look as good on that side of the park because James and Bogle have played so much together. So you've all, again, these partnerships are starting to click. The two lads in the middle of the park, Tanaka and Rotwell have a fantastic relationship. Gruev's come in there and slotted in. And I love what Ilya Gruev does off the ball. This is my Paul Hecking bottom without ball moment. But if you just watch his movement left and right across the park, he just cuts off passing lanes. The ball never goes into the area that he's in because they just can't. It's just his positional sense is phenomenal. So all these little partnerships are clicking. Joe Pereira's starting to find his touch now in the box.
Yeah,
all of it's really, really positive.
He looks a different player, Peru, to me.
He does when he's facing the goal.
Yeah.
But when he's facing the other way, he's got a touch of a bus. But when he turns around, he's got cushion feet. Like it doesn't make any sense. If he's in the penalty area, the ball drops dead. If he's outside the box, it goes up in the air. And it's just making sure we get him in the right. But yeah, they've all been great, Joe. And I think all of a sudden he's starting to trust them and let them go and play. And again, this is what I said before Christmas. Same with Gareth Southgate. You've got this talented attacking bunch of players. Just let them off the leash a little bit, And people are saying now that there was no leash, but the first half of the season versus what we're doing now says to me there was a leash there, and it's been loosened a little bit. He trusts them now to go and to finish the job.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something in that. I remember after the Cardiff game, they spoke to Dan James after, and he mentioned how, previously they would maybe wait, and this time they decided to go for it. And I think Farke took probably the criticism after Burnley quite personal and said, "Do you know what? I'll fucking show you." And because it's worked and worked really well, he's probably gone, fuck it, let's just go after everybody now. Because it's not wild to think in the games against Watford, Coventry, and Cardiff, you could have had like 3-7-0s, to be honest.
Oh, easily. Easily. If we were passing the ball and not all shooting ourselves, easily. They could have squared the ball for tap-ins all day.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's crazy. So confident we'll win the league. Are you in that position yet?
No.
Still nervous?
I still think we go up automatically, but I'm not at we're champions just yet. But I think this is a huge one. If you win, again, to your point, if you win this relatively comfortably, so if it's a 2-0 and you've dominated the game, I think then you start to say, yeah, we're levels above everybody else. Yeah. But this is, I don't have to beat these, but if you want to make a statement saying we're going to go and finish this job, you beat these. If you don't win it, you're like, that's okay. We can still get there. Sheffield United comes up. You want to beat them as well, not lose complete momentum. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you just go out, get the 3 points tonight, it sends a big message to the rest of the league of going, we're the pace setters here. Nobody else. Exactly. We're back on top again.
Yeah.
And it's this thing about maintaining that top spot where last year, it's around that question of bottle. Last year when we got to the top, we were there for like a day and then we drop out again. We drop down 2 spots and then we get back up again, back down again. We've held it for a while. Sheffield United done great to get back into the mix. But if we win again today, we're back on top again. Next round. So once every round of games has been finished for the last 6-7 weeks, Leeds have been top. And that says an awful lot to the rest of the league as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think this time last season I had a look as well, and we were second this time last season as well with the same points. Obviously, if we win tonight, we'll go into first and third. How would you feel if we did get a point, Joe? Because I know for a fact the naysayers will be out and will be saying it's not good enough. It was a must win. Is a point, depending on the game state, of course, but is a point. But it's not bad, is it? Because we go back top of the league with Sheffield United to play.
You're then unbeaten in 16. You still haven't lost at home since the Burnley game.
Yeah.
I mean, you can twist it whatever way you want it. I would, if you offered me a point from Sunderland and Sheffield United right now, I take the point and then move on to the rest of the games because I think we win the rest of them and we get promoted. And then I think we probably go up as champions. So I don't think I really don't think it's a must win. Look, people will say what they want. There's still, trust me, I have tons of bookmarks of people that made ridiculous comments about the summer transfer window. They're just sitting there now waiting to be receipted back out to some people. So
am I in there?
No, I'm not in there. No. There's some buttes in there. So people said a lot of things in the summer and forgot to remove them. So yeah, look, if you want to be negative, you'll be negative. That's just who you are. You'll find the opportunity somewhere to be negative. If Leeds were to win 1-0 in this and we didn't play well, there'd be someone moaning about the fact that, well, the performance wasn't great and we nicked it and we shouldn't have won. And look, there's a portion of people out there that would rather be right than Leeds win. And I hate that. I hate that. I don't care if I'm right or wrong as long as Leeds win.
Yeah. There's been just on that, Elliot, welcome, mate. There's been quite a few people in my comments on my preview. I don't know about you, a few people on TikTok and that. Sunderland fans are very buoyant going into this. I don't know where they genuinely, a lot of them think they're going to beat us, and I don't know where the confidence has come from. They are very good, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, Elliot's not, he's shitting it obviously, but I think what's good as well. Monday night, with the only big game on as well, there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. It's a Premier League game in waiting. It's Sunderland, really. Yeah, it's a big game, isn't it?
Yeah, Sunderland deserve to be back at the top. Yeah. They were always they're cracking side. They've got a good team, Joe. They should be buoyant. They've got a really, really good side. They've got a smash the midfield. Riggin midfield is a quality player. He came off injured in the last game, but he's been apparently past fit to play in this. That's a huge boost for them. Yeah. Bellingham's a cracking midfielder. Roberts is a dangerous player. Eastor's a really, really good player. He's a cracking player. They've got Premier League level players in this, and they've reinvested their Jack Clark money really, really cleverly. They've got a really good manager who's very tactically astute and his stock is on the up as a coach. So they've a lot of stuff. They're unbeaten in 6, including the FA Cup. So they've got a bit of rhythm here. So they shouldn't be written off by any stretch of the imagination. But Leeds have rhythm here as well. Leeds are unbeaten in 14 or 15. Leeds have only lost 3 games in the entire season.
In the league, we've scored 18 without reply. Like, it's insane.
In 6 games.
Mental. Yeah.
Have Burnley scored 18 all season?
Have
Burnley scored 18?
Yeah, but they don't concede. That's the oh yeah, but at least we aren't.
Those 2
you points, you can defend, but fucking hell.
You keep dropping those 2 points off every single game and you start to get cut adrift pretty quickly.
100%. And I hate to quote him, but Neil Warnock says it's the draws that kill you in this league. Yeah.
I think, Dale's making a comment in the comments. I think he's dead right. It's the counter attacks that are terrifying. And that's where my worry is tonight. If they get into the middle, break out quick into the middle, balls into the channels on a counter attack, and where our fullbacks will be. And I think if they were looking at part of our team to go it would be in behind the fullbacks with their space.
Definitely. I think we saw them when they played Middlesbrough. Enzo Lafise sort of nearly retired Luke Ayling on the left.
Oh, poor Luke. Yeah. But even if you go back to the first game against Leeds, and it wasn't even Lafise, there was that moment when Strauch got dragged up the park, marking the attacker, and then he just spun him and just ran into space. I think it was a free kick or penalty or something was given away at that stage. But that's the dangers. And that's why I don't think Strauch plays. I think he'll go with Ampadu because he'll just go in and nail him, take the free kick.
I think I'm a little bit worried about Mundle potentially coming in and Lafise obviously moving into the central area as well. That could be a little bit of a problem. That's why you start Gruev. I've seen someone say, "Oh no, keep Rothwell," but I think
not for this one.
Yeah, I think Gruev keeps his place, and then we move to Sheffield United. So, come on then, Joe. Before we finish up, give us a score prediction, mate.
2-1 Leeds.
2-1. I'm going to go 2-0. I could see 2-1 though, but I think I just want us to keep this clean sheet record going. I just want us to. But if anyone's going to score, it'll be them.
Well, they've got the talent.
What's that? Sorry.
They have the striking talent who've been up against other sides who've had chances, but maybe not the quality of players. Yeah. They had quality.
Yeah. Agreed. I just want to shout out Mr. Dodo as well. It's his birthday today, member for 12 months. Not his actual birthday, but on the channel. But yeah, Mr. Dodo, absolute goal. Joe, have you got any sort of match day content or anything you want to mention?
Yeah, the warm up is on the page at the moment, so that's just all the stats, data, form guide, team news for both sides coming into the game, and a prediction and a predicted lineup as well. So that's
cool.
Yeah, different type of preview, so it's not the same as anybody else's.
Yeah.
All data and stats.
Yourself and Andrew, yeah.
No, just me. Yeah, stats, not stats, Dalton. Stats, just stats, statistics.
Just stats. All right, I thought you meant stats.
Data and statistics. Yeah, no. Stats back during the week for podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, so get amongst it. I'm excited to use my new flashy watch along graphic for this.
I was looking at that
the
other day. That's nice.
Like
Where did you get that from?
To be honest, it's cost me a small fortune.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for someone to build it, and then obviously, because whereas before I would have to update it, all does it for me, so I don't have to do it, So, it was the right progression. I think it looks cool.
Looks
I like it.
It does look really good.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be met with a win tonight, and then we can move on to Sheffield United, can't we?
We have none of our
One
promotion rivals after that. None.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got, I think as well, I've seen that Coventry have got to play Sunderland, Sheffield United, and Burnley, and
they've all got to play each other.
Games. Yeah, exactly.
That'll be a big up there as well because of it. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think, to be honest, I work out my month fixtures, watch-alongs. I put it in my calendar. And after the 1st of March, I stopped putting Sunderland in. And I don't know if I've done, but the reason I did that is because I think that they might, I think that they might be out of the top two. Like tonight, 10 points is massive. If they don't beat us and we win, 10 points is massive. I can't see them like catching us that way. We'd have to have an almighty fall off like last season, but I don't see that happening.
Worse than last season.
Yeah.
Because we were still chasing. I did say last week, it's a different type of pressure this year on those players. They're being chased, not chasing. And it's very easy to motivate yourself when you're chasing somebody because you can always see what you have to do. But when you're being chased, it can be really tough to motivate yourself. And I was just listening how Daniel Farke was talking about not being happy with Tanaka's goal output and not being happy with Joe Pirro's goal output. You're like, he's changed his tone and how he's taught. He wants more from them now. He's saying to Tanaka, I want more goals from you. And he's saying to Pirro, I want more from you, which is just a way of trying to keep them motivated now in a different spot. So yeah, different pressure. But I really like this team when they're playing well, Joe. I think they're a beautiful football inside when they're let go. And if they get space tonight, it could be a cracking game.
Yeah. No, yeah, you agree. Steve Cantrell, serious question. Buying a Leeds shirt on the website, are you medium or large? Buying it from... It depends how big you are, mate. But I always buy a large because I don't like my moves. So anything that's remotely tight, it shows me moves. So I always go large. Joe, have you bought a shirt this year?
Yeah, they're all a bit different in sizes. I have a large in all of them. The yellow's a bit baggier, but the white was a little bit tighter, but it's not as tight as last season's. So I'm 6'4" height wise, and I'm about 15 stone like width wise. So a large fits me perfectly.
15 stone. You don't look
like I'm 6'4", man. So it's
I suppose 15 stone. I'm like, that's hench. You look slim, mate. You look slim.
I'm not that slim.
No. To be honest, the shirts are now 20 quid as well. So when I get paid next week, I'm going to buy the home and away third one.
I got the navy one on sale.
Yeah, 20 quid. I mean, it's mad. It's mad to think. I know they've kept the away one at 40 because it's obviously still selling well. Yeah. But last season, you could have bought all three when they go down for the price you pay for them when they're brand new, like three shirts. Yeah. It's mad, innit? So that's why I've waited.
Giddy, don't you?
Yeah. I didn't I know. I promised myself I wouldn't, but that yellow one was a beauty. So I was like, right.
Well, you were boycotting the club because of Red Bull and 49ers at that point, so you were smart boy. Someone said to me that Joe said that Max Verber's faking an injury. I was like, he's not said that because Max Verber's not going to fake his surgery for the sake of it. Yes, cut my knee open so I don't have to play for Leeds anymore. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, someone had a go at me actually when I said don't give them your money on about the shirts with the red, and they were like, "How dare you?" But I was like, "Fuck off, mate! I don't like what."
But
I think
at
he
that
said it.
point,
I think he said it was libelous or something like that. That I was telling him. I was like, whatever, shut up.
I think at that point there was a lot of people kind of going, "This could be an absolute disaster or a masterstroke. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is yet." So
yeah,
I'm leaning
exactly.
towards
Yeah,
disaster.
yeah. We were all being taught, oh yeah, we've got to get with the times. Red Bull, change the name, and then you had the other ones who were very much like, no, traditionalist. Yeah, you're right at that point. However, that Red Bull stuff,
no,
nah.
I bought shorts when Leeds were owned by Chelino and Bates, and I'll keep buying shorts.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
the money goes into the club. So
yeah, exactly. Right, mate. I think we'll leave it there. We're rambling now, folks. When's your your match preview's already live, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll be live at 5 to 7, folks, just in time for the lineups getting announced. So please join me for that. And thanks always for watching, and make sure you go check out Jer at Leeds United The View, which I know you will have done already. It's all right, Donna. You can just go back and watch it on replay. Go back and watch it on replay. It's well worth it, I promise you. Anyway, folks, we'll great show, great city. Yeah, exactly. The goats. That's why they call them the goats.
we still talk just because we don't do this.
Of course we do. Yeah, we do, mate. Right, okay. We'll see you in a bit. Bye bye.